A very happy Blue Review today. Clinton Yates, Greg Bergman, and as always, the Blue Review is presented by Los Angeles International Airport, where changes are arriving daily to help reduce traffic, save travelers time, and transform the travel experience. That was a sweep of those San Diego Padres here in LA. That's now 5 of 6 for the entire season so far. Clinton Yates, feeling pretty good here in Dodgerland right now.
Yeah, it's feeling pretty good. Handled the Padres in a home series that I thought was extremely important to figuring out who you are. They're playing their best baseball of the season right now. They're obviously the class of the division, which was a question recently going into these two series in the last 2 weeks. That has now been answered. That said, now my question becomes to you, Gregory, at this point is, okay, you're better than everybody in the National League West. This is not news. The definition of news is things that are new, but we did learn to confirm that. Where do you sit in the rest of the major leagues? They have the most wins in the National League. The Rays are obviously good. They also have the same record as the Orioles, who are a good team. And I'm only bringing that up not to sort of shock value people for franchise purposes, but you start to think, what's the World Series chance here? You know what I mean? It's easy to say, okay, well, we've got a shot just based on anybody, but you've got to look at the competition on the field right now. This Dodgers team is a good team from a pitching standpoint. Situational hitting has improved. The manufacturing of runs has gone up. However, I still don't know if you look at this team and say they're the odds-on favorite to win the World Series. And that's fine right now. I'm just wondering how you've looked at this progression from before the Padres series to after.
So I think nothing really changed for the Dodgers. They are World Series or bust every single year at this point, right? There's nothing they can do about it. I think that you're starting to see a lot of stuff, though. You're starting to see that their pitching is really, really good, and they're one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. And when you have Dustin May pitching the way he is, and Urias getting back to who he was, Kershaw pitching fantastically, and now Gonsolin showing that he's kind of the guy that he was last year. Their pitching is really, really good. They're 15th in runs in scoring position in all of the MLB, which is, mid-range. That needs to get better. But overall, I think they are in the National League. It's probably them, the Braves, and I think the Padres will find their way back up. Those are probably the 3 teams that have the best chance to make it to the World Series. I mean, look, the Padres are now 3 games below 500, 7 games back. They're starting to show a little bit of weakness that they didn't think they were going to be having at the beginning of the year. But if you want to talk about overall, the Dodgers are the best team in the National League, and it really should never have been thought otherwise.
Dave Roberts said that they don't worry about the competition team to team individually. I'm not so sure how smart that is, because last year they said they were also going to win the World Series and they did not. So what I mean is that, at some point of this season, we're going to have to start saying, we're judging the Dodgers against World Series expectations, not the Padres, not the National League, you know what I mean, in terms of who they are for who they can be. I still think this team has to get to another level to be what I see with my eyeballs as a World Series winning team. That's just me, only because I've seen this team be this good for the last 3 to 4 seasons and not win a World Series. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, something extra, maybe not extra, but something in addition has to happen with this particular collection of guys for me to be like, okay, they're their odds-on favorite to win the World Series.
So I'm glad to see that you're finally on my side when it comes to these series when we talked about the Padres last week.
Well, yeah, you got that big game, Gregory. They played them and they won them. Like,
I understand.
That's the
but
point
this is
here.
what I'm saying.
It was entirely possible they didn't win all those games. They lost the first one.
Of course.
Yeah.
No. I'm not. I don't want to get you all stressed out.
No.
I'm just saying. This was my whole thing, was that they are judged on what they do in the postseason and into the World Series. So even if they would have gotten swept through both of them, they would have meant nothing, because it all would have mattered what's going on there. And now what you're seeing with the Padres is my whole point was, now look at them. They're getting all of San Diego's like, what the hell's wrong with this team?
We're getting bogged down in the wrong things. What I'm saying is, do you think that this team, for the Dodgers, for what they are, based on the skills you have seen, is at a point where you think it's going to win the World Series? To just say we've got a chance is one thing, but we're all watching the baseball. I don't think this team is the best team in the bigs. You know what I mean? And that's fine.
No,
I'm just saying that, the idea is that you're going to get better as the season goes on. They've done that probably better than any team in the bigs, which is improved series to series as a squad. The Rays came out hot as hell. The Braves are obviously consistent. Anyway, this is differing for me. And so I wonder, what do you think still has to improve in your minds for you to,
Sure.
for lack of a better term, get into cruise control in terms of how you feel as a fan?
Sure. Okay. So yeah, they do need to fix their situational hitting with the runners in scoring position, like you were talking about. I think they need to add a little bit something. Like right now, Austin Barnes is your backup catcher. I know he doesn't pitch that, he doesn't come in that often. He has been absolutely horrendous at the plate. He has just above a 300 OPS, which, on base plus slugging. That's really, really, really low. And he's an automatic out. Unfortunately, I mean, so at some point you're going to have to start looking. And I know he's Clayton Kershaw's personal catcher type guy. If he's not producing at the plate, you got to find somebody else to back up Will Smith, especially on days when Will Smith is in the DH. I think they need to still fix their shortstop position. Maybe go after a guy like Anderson in Chicago. He's not very happy.
Apparently unhappy.
He's unhappy. I think that could be a really, really good move.
Okay, so, now we're talking. So there are things that they need to fix. Yes, Clinton, there's things that need to fix, and they need to get better on the offensive end. I think their pitching staff and their bullpen has been solid, and there will continue to be solid. The reason I say that is very simple. It's not because I'm some, ardent pessimist. Not at all. It's just that it's not like they've won a ton of rings recently. Like this is it happened once. And it was in the short season. Like there is still something that I need to know in a 162 setup in order for me to be as confident as you are. And I think you're right. The backup catcher position, I know that is nitpicking like hell. I get that, viewers, but it's important, especially with Will Smith being in the health situation that he is. A concussion, another one, a bad play, whatever it happens. I mean, in terms of a bad play, injury-wise, that could be the season. You know what I mean? Like that's a real thing, and that's unfortunate. So yes, I do think the backup catcher position is something, and the infield still has a lot to be worked on. But yeah, we learned a lot about the Dodgers this weekend. They know they're in cruise control now. The question is whether or not cruise control can win them the World Series.
And I think they absolutely can. And I know I trust Andrew Friedman too. When he needs to make a move at the deadline, he's going to make a move. So I would imagine they're going to do something between now and then that's going to improve this team to really push them over the top and keep them at the same level they are right now too. Now, last thing for me, that Durham Bulls shirt is awesome. Awesome. I need me one of those. Next time we go over there, I will Venmo you whatever you need, because I know you go over to that East Coast way more often. That is awesome.
You're not getting this unless you go down to Durham, North Carolina itself and buy one. The funny story about this is that the first time I went to Durham to a Bulls game was like 10 years ago. I bought this shirt, but it was like how to explain it? It was like the harder cotton, like whatever. It wasn't this. And so when I got there this time, I saw it in a more comfortable version and I bought it and I threw out the other one. That's
the right way to go.
Yes, real life story. So
the style of the shirt makes a big difference. The comfort. I'm with you on that.
Big upgrade.
All right. Well, maybe one day I'll be able to get to get over to Durham at some point. All right. Well, I'm going to be at the Dodger game tonight. If you happen to see me walking around, I will buy you a beer because why not? So I doubt that you will come up, but if you do, I will buy you whatever you want.
Get some fan cameos telling people that they're watching Blue Review. That would be great.
Oh. That would be awesome. And we'll throw them all on here. Don't worry about that. That'll absolutely happen. All right. But that's it for Clinton Yates, Greg Bergman, Blue Review. Thank you to LAX. See you tomorrow.